Hey, Chris,
Hey, what?
do you like fixins?
Oh, I love me some fixins.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And before our yearly Super Bowl trailer show, we're going to talk about Marvel's Runaway casting job.
Ooh, okay.
Ben Affleck stepping back from the directing The Batman.
Oh, question mark, question mark.
Question mark. At first look at Star Trek Discovery. That show, that's coming eventually, and more.
Yeah, so this is our pre-show, I guess, to say, for the Super Bowl. Now, I think most people out there pre-gaming for the Super Bowl, they're more excited maybe for the actual sporting event taking place. But we at the Superhero Slate, we are excited for everything running through the middle of the game and everything outside the periphery of the Super Bowl. So I'm talking about Super Bowl snacks on the outside,
Yes.
and then we work our way into the commercials, and then within the commercials we have the real true meat of the Super Bowl for us, which are the movie trailers.
Movie trailers. I will even go so far as to say commercials. And I tell you what, it's just as hard to stay fresh and non-spoil on the commercials today as it is in movie trailers, to be honest. Because, I mean, people are sitting down, they're watching them, they're releasing them a week early. Here's our Super Bowl spot. I'm like, well, why would you do this? Now I don't want to watch it during the Super Bowl. So I've not watched anything as of yet. I feel very confident going in.
I've seen one Budweiser commercial, but that I'm not really too worried about that. It wasn't particularly funny. I'm not saying the Budweiser commercial needed to be funny, but usually when you think Super Bowl commercial, you think of some sort of humorous commercial. Usually Doritos has something funny, and then always you're looking out for like the trailers. And I feel like there's always a couple different classification of the type of trailer you're going to see at the Super Bowl. First of all, there's always going to be like a winner. There's always going to be like one trailer that everybody's looking for, that everyone's looking out for, expecting, and it's usually like a debut trailer, like the first time you've seen footage of something. I think you have fond memories of the first Avengers Super Bowl trailer. I think you've talked about that on the show before.
Ever?
But that's that was like debut footage,
Well, no, it was the second trailer.
But it was new footage for that Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, it was new footage. Yeah, it was like the second trailer. So, like, I'm put them more into first half trailers and second half trailers. Because the first half of the game, I think you're going to get the better ones.
Yeah, for sure. And then those other trailers are kind of almost like, I feel like the last ditch efforts to get people to get excited about the movie. Like, that like King Arthur Guy Ritchie movie that like I am so lukewarm on, I don't even care about. I have a really strong feeling that that's probably going to have a second half Super Bowl trailer, and just because the company's just like, we got to have one last marketing push on this movie or no one's going to come see it. So I guess my first Super Bowl prediction is we're going to have a very lackluster I think the movie's called King Arthur or something like that. We're going to have that Guy Ritchie Super Bowl trailer, and they're just going to try to cram it with probably as much TNA, explosions, if there are explosions back then. I don't know what kind of movie they're making, and swords and stuff. They're just going to try to make it as manly as possible, get it in front of that Super Bowl audience, and hopefully people will go see that. So that's my first Super Bowl prediction.
See, I'm actually on the other end. I think Super Bowl is for trailers that aren't coming out for several months, and this is to get the buzz talking. So I think at this point in the game, we won't see one of those. But I feel Marvel's taken one trailer there, and I think it's going to be Guardians and not Spider-Man this year.
Yeah, that seems right.
We're overdue for a second Guardians trailer. And it's the first week of February to March, April, May. We are 3 months away from this movie debuting. And Lord knows we don't need a trailer to get us hyped for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Exactly.
But a lot of people, that surprised a lot of people in 2014. A lot of comic book superhero moviegoers really fell in love with it. And I think this is a time to remind them, hey, there's a sequel coming out this is our second trailer. The third trailer will obviously be tickets are available now, but this one's going to say, hey, Guardians is coming. Don't forget about Baby Groot.
Yeah, I think the second biggest question is that kind of nails things down on the Marvel side of things. But I'm kind of curious, is there going to be more for the Disney side of things? So I think the big question up in the air is, are we going to see footage from The Last Jedi? Obviously, I think things are swirling around it to be maybe a good idea for them, because the Super Bowl commercials, since they're so expensive, no one out there is buying like 3 spots in a row to show like a full like a minute 30-second trailer. It's always like 30-second trailer spots, and 30 seconds is just like the perfect amount of time for like a real teaser trailer. So I feel like maybe we're gonna get something Star Warsy, and it'll probably be similar to the first trailer we got for The Force Awakens, like the first teaser trailer. We're just gonna see maybe some scenery shots, maybe some sort of spaceships. We might hear some sort of like evil like tone in the background. Some sort of like abstract lightsaber coming out of its handle, and then probably some sort of look. Maybe some sort of stance. I'm thinking of Rey standing next to Luke, both holding lightsabers, and I feel like that's when it cuts to Star Wars The Last Jedi title screen. So I feel like that could be like maybe one of the first trailers we get, because usually they put the best like at the very first commercial break, and then their second best is like just before halftime, because after halftime hits, the game's pretty much done when it comes to a trailer, big blockbuster trailer. So I guess that would be my other prediction is I think we might get that Star Wars teaser.
I'm gonna lean a little bit the other way, mostly because of something I remembered earlier. This is the big year for D23 and Star Wars Celebration in Orlando this year. I'm thinking, judging by past trailers, and Lord knows our track record is shitty.
For guessing trailers, yeah.
For guessing trailers, it's awful. Like, it just put a forecast. One of us is going to be right, and the other one is going to be wrong, or we're both going to be wrong. But I think they'll wait till April to give us something. But we've not seen any footage of this yet, and we need to. So I'm really hoping I'm wrong, and they give it to us this year.
Yeah, well, I think, speaking D23, I think that would be maybe a good time for a full-fledged trailer. But, just a 30-second spot just seems really solid. So that's what I can say about Star Wars. Crossing my fingers, I'm just going to go ahead and just hope. Because sometimes you need a little bit of a surprise when you're going into the Super Bowl. Because sometimes I feel like if you dig deep enough, you can almost find out every commercial and trailer that's going to be playing. So I kind of like to take a step back and be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Totally do. My hopefully to be surprised is actually a Justice League preview.
Yeah.
I've seen Wonder Woman. We've had several Wonder Woman trailers. I would like to see a Justice League preview and actually see the villain or, something, a nice action piece. Yeah. To get the blood flowing and get the pump, the energy pumped up, because it's the Super Bowl, right? We're already energized. We're already a lot of emotions running high for no real reason whatsoever. So Justice League trailer would definitely, I think, tap into those key emotions and go from there.
Well, the really fun thing about Super Bowl trailers is they're packed for punch. There's always one big defining moment in the trailer that they ended on, and I can think back to the trailer for Jurassic World. I believe, I'm almost 100% sure that they had a Super Bowl trailer, and that big moment in that trailer was that big water dinosaur. I don't really know the scientific name of whatever that was, but it coming out of the water
is the scientific name.
Yeah, but coming out of that pool and like eating that other kind of medium-sized dinosaur or whale or whatever it was, that was a big moment in that trailer, and that was the moment everybody was talking about. So I feel like if we do get Justice League, I feel like their big moment is going to be a shot of Superman, and he's going to be in like his black outfit. Obviously, over here at Superhero Slate, we're not surprised that he's still alive, but I think maybe they might reveal him with a slightly different uniform or costume. And how does he keep getting these? Like, does he, when he goes back to his Justice or his Fortress of Solitude, like, does like new costumes unlock for him when he gets these achievements? Like, oh, you rose from the dead. Here's your new black costume, son. So I don't really know how that works, but I feel like because we haven't seen Superman yet. We've seen all this Justice League stuff, but we're Supes. So I feel like we might get a little bit of him, or at least maybe his boots with his cape or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a nice reveal would be good if we did get a Justice League tease. I definitely agree with that. So my surprise that I wouldn't be surprised with this Justice League. And again, I'm in the same boat. I've taken a step back. I don't know. The only two things I know that are in there are in the Super Bowl, because I saw one was released like 3 days ago, is the Transformers The Last Night. It has a trailer there. And Stranger Things will have a trailer, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was pretty surprised because I think I was just scrolling through some sort of feed, and I saw the words Stranger Things Season 2, Super Bowl, something, so I didn't click into it because I didn't want to be spoiled of what it was, but I think it's pretty cool that Netflix was just like, hey, Stranger Things is enough of a cultural phenomenon. Everybody loves these kids. You know, they were in that opening little bit for the Golden Globes. You know, I think it's cool that they're going to basically shove down enough money and put them in front of people at the Super Bowl. That's awesome. So, way to go, Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, on that note, so now that, now I know that Netflix is putting money into the Super Bowl, which blows my mind. I never thought they would to begin with. I'm thinking an Iron Fist teaser should be brought into play here. I mean, we're 5 weeks away. I think they could surprise us with that.
I mean, that's kind of, I guess, a question that I was going to ask you that you kind of just answered. I was going to say, what are you kind of hoping for that you don't think is going to happen? Just because I just don't think Iron Fist, maybe. I would see maybe something Defenders-oriented, because I think maybe that would be big enough for the Super Bowl, but I don't see maybe Iron Fist. So maybe Defenders, but that's a little far out. I feel like we're not going to get any footage of that until we actually see Danny Rand in action. So I would not put my money on Iron Fist, but it would be a welcome surprise. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, Netflix, why did you waste your money on Iron Fist?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Iron Fist needs a little more exposure than the other Defenders did, because Luke Cage was in Jessica Jones, and Jessica Jones needed a little more exposure at her time as well. So I don't know. I could see it going either way. Now that I know Netflix is willing to spend money on stuff, because beforehand, you never saw Netflix advertise outside of Netflix. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like we're dedicating this whole episode, kind of to the Super Bowl, or at least this segment. So it's special enough to bring Netflix out.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very special, and enough for me to host a Super Bowl party, Mike. That's awesome. It's my first time ever hosting, and I am ready to sit down and watch a lot of these things in the comfort of my own home with my surround sound system and all the delicious goodies that we are making.
Yes, so before we're kind of off this topic of the Super Bowl and we move on more into the news here, I would be sad if we didn't at least for one moment talk about the snacks we're going to be having during the Super Bowl, because I think who doesn't love snacks? So let's take a brief moment here. What's the one snack that you're looking forward to? Kind of the one snack you associate with the Super Bowl.
So I am a big fan of the simple chili cheese mix dip with Tostitos
nice.
Scoops. You can snack on that the whole game. You put it in a crock pot, keep it warm. It's not going to go bad.
And that's basically just like Velveeta and like a can of chili, isn't it?
Pretty much. The most basic thing you could ever make. And that is the one thing I always have to have at my Super Bowl parties. Mike, what's your go-to?
So this isn't exactly like any sort of groundbreaking like recipe. I had a friend back in high school made it, and I tried it, and I've loved it ever since. It's a buffalo chicken dip. It's basically just like you mix in some chicken with some cream cheese, you throw in some like Frank's Red Hot sauce, and you bake it. And there's a couple other things, but basically it tastes like a buffalo chicken wing in a dip. And you like eat it with like club crackers or like potato chips, whatever you want to dip in there. But it's really delicious. It's kind of like the one time I look forward to eating it, because it's not healthy. I mean, once you're throwing cream cheese in any sort of recipe, it's kind of an occasional thing. It's not something you can work in every week. So I'm going all in on that tomorrow. So that's my Super Bowl dish. So I'll be sitting down, dipping into that, and crossing my fingers for the Last Jedi footage.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's funny. I think that you could have a nickel for every buffalo chicken dip out there at the Super Bowl, and we'd be rich people.
Oh yeah.
But I think this year I'm taking my game up. Since we're hosting it, I decided to up my game. I'm making hot wings, Mike.
Oh.
I'm gonna make hot wings, and I bought Hooters mild sauce to cover those wings in.
All right, man.
I don't have the assets to deliver these wings as the Hooters waitresses would, but at the same time, the hot sauce is to die for. So
the hot sauce, which you referred to as mild sauce, which I find humorous.
It's mild hot sauce, okay? I mean, I've got to cater to everyone's palate here. I'm trying to find the lowest common denominator for these wings. So
well, Hooters wing sauce, lowest common denominator. Superhero Slate quote.
Yeah, it totally is. So any other Super Bowl things you want to throw in here, Mike? Are you going somewhere? Are you staying in, doing your own thing? Like,
I am prepared to watch in the same fashion I'm prepared every year. Is I'm just gonna find a couch, absorb myself into it, and just hopefully no one distracts me when the commercials come on.
Okay, well that's what you do. If not 5 seconds later, you'll be logging into YouTube to watch them.
Exactly.
And this is also a good point. All the trailers and commercials and stuff we deem worthy of talking about over the Super Bowl, we will be recording right after the game tomorrow and putting that up as soon as we can. So
yeah,
there will be a part 2 to this, much like we did last year. I liked it. It was fun. We're doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
So Super Bowl is a highlight of this weekend. However, we have a gut punch in terms of news, Mike, as we jump into the news. With the Batman, Ben Affleck has stepped away from directing the Batman movie for the DC Cinematic Universe.
So I think, we're going to unpack this a little bit because I've looked into this a little bit this week because it's big news. I can't avoid big news myself and wait a whole week until the weekend for you to dive it in. So I think that at first glance, it's not good news, I would say, in general for Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers, I feel like they just can't keep that train moving without having to stop and have all these bumps and having to try to get rocks and logs off the tracks and stuff like that. It's rough going over there for them. So it's not like the Batman is not being made anymore. It's just he doesn't want to direct it. So does that make us feel nervous? Because we know he has a lot of creative integrity, especially when we were talking about the script a couple weeks ago. He's waiting for something on paper that he really wants to make. He's waiting for something that's right because he wants to do the Batman right. So I give him credit for that, and if the movie gets delayed because he's waiting for a good script, that's awesome. But it looks like he's also really nervous about himself directing it because I believe he said he doesn't think he can portray the Batman and direct the movie at the same time. He said it would just be too much for him to handle. So I guess you could take that as maybe some more creative integrity there. So he's taking more and more responsibility off of himself so he can make the best Batman movie he can. I mean, and some people are just saying he's rattled from the movie he just had come out. I think it was called Live by Night. I guess that did not go over very well. I don't know, box office wise or critically wise, but he's not happy with the performance of the movie. So maybe Affleck's getting a little rattled. I don't know.
Well, so to me, this is the second big bad news we've had in a row from Warner Brothers in the DC Cinematic Universe. Last week, The Flash is getting a page 1 rewrite. And the first draft of that was actually written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, right? So, if you've got a script by them, just tweak it a little bit. They do great stuff. So a page 1 rewrite by a guy who did the shittiest movie I've ever seen called Awake is not making me feel better. And then this kind of, I don't know. Some people likened it to the phrase growing pains, but DC should not have growing pains on their 6th or 7th movie down the road. They should have had this worked out a long time ago. Now, if he's stepping back as director and he's waiting to get the script right, he's also writing the script. So I can get where the too much directing it, acting in it, and writing in it can come from. That's a lot of work to do on a movie, no matter who you are. So I can see him stepping back, but we also have news that his frequent collaborator, Chris Terrio, has reworked the script as well. Terrio is known for, I think he worked on Man of Steel a little bit and the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice as well. So I don't know how that's going to play into it, if that's another notch against it or not. I don't know what to feel, man. I'm just, I'm worried he's just going to back out completely. If he backs out completely, what happens going forward, Mike? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's just news that makes you nervous. It's not news that necessarily fills you with dread. It's just you feel like, okay, there's just more and more shaky ground. Like Warner Brothers is already on shaky ground with, you know, the 3 movies that they've put out right now. But then we thought, oh, with Ben Affleck coming along, being Batman, directing his own Batman movie, basically it being pretty much his vision, you know, you felt pretty stable. But then when you start to hear these things about, you know, script delays and, oh, now he's not directing the movie, you're just back to shaky ground again. So it's just like, it's almost just more and more pressure that's getting put on top of Wonder Woman and getting put on top of Justice League later this year. Like, it's almost like, what happens if those movies don't do good? Like, what happens if no one likes Wonder Woman? What happens if no one likes Justice League? Is that just say goodbye to the rest of Warner Brothers and comic book movies? You know, what's going to go on over there? Obviously, I hope that's not the case. I want a good Wonder Woman movie. I want a kick-ass Justice League movie. But, I mean, I think honestly, just us who is jumping into this news every week, I think we just want some good Warner Brothers news. That's all we need.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think the worst part of this news is reading that there is now a petition started to have Zack Snyder direct the Batman. And I would rather get a root canal while rewatching Batman v Superman than have him do the Batman movie on top of that. I mean, what?
Well,
who would you pick?
I mean, if I know anything about online petitions, that's not going to do... That's not going to do anything. I don't remember the director's name, but I really liked the director's work who did the first Kick-Ass movie. I don't know if he happened to do the second Kick-Ass movie. I can't keep track of all these people, but I mean, he kind of directed his own Batman sequence in that movie with Big Daddy. So, I mean, he showed off his skills there. So bring that guy in.
Yeah, that's Matthew Vaughn, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
did he do X-Men First Class as well? Yeah,
and I want to say maybe he did Kingsman. I don't remember.
He did do Kingsman.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I like that guy. So he knows what he's doing. I think he can handle a big property like Batman.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Matthew Vaughn's a choice I didn't even think of. He did. Do you see the movie Stardust as well? It actually had Charlie Cox, Daredevil, in it. It's based on a Neil Gaiman book. It's a very interesting sci-fi kind of fantasy movie. Matthew Vaughn does great stuff. I agree with you there. I saw someone, I believe it might have been Kevin Smith, say George Miller, who recently did the Mad Max movies. He's been in talk to do maybe the Superman movies, but maybe he could come in and do a Batman movie instead.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I mean, he's used to being... He's used to dealing with the grit. I love the grit of Fury Road, so I think that would translate pretty well over to Batman. And talk about a multi-purpose director. If he can make like Babe, you know, he can also make Batman. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some good choices. I'm okay with those. But yeah, I agree with you. We need some good news out of there. And that's gonna bring us to our next topic here. The most positive movie that I think I've heard so far has been Aquaman, who is like the worst DC Comics book character, and they've somehow managed to make me feel good about him. They've cast a great badass character to play that with Jason Momoa, and they're still casting more people. I'm gonna butcher this. Yahya Abdul Mateen II from the TV show The Get Down. Has signed on or was signing on to play the villain Black Manta in the movie.
Ooh, I love Black Manta just because I've been talking about this last couple of weeks. I've been jumping into the DC animated shows. Black Manta was a big role in the second season of Young Justice. I thought he was really badass in that, so I'd love to see Black Manta. He has such a cool character design. Like I love that imposing helmet with that kind of alien fish-like eyes to it. So I'd love to see how that gets translated onto the big screen. I hope they keep it as weird as imposing because that's almost what makes it seem more creepy. So I love the idea that we're going to see Black Manta in there. And I actually just wrapped up the 3-parter series for Justice League, the animated series, because they do all these awesome parts, because I'm rewatching that. So I just wrapped up Aquaman stuff, and Aquaman's a badass in there. Like he fucking chops his own hand off, to save his son. when he gets double crossed. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff to explore with Aquaman. So crossing my fingers, I'm crossing my fingers because who knows? Like we've seen directors and writers bow out of movies that we thought were solid and gold. So.
Yeah, exactly. And Aquaman, I feel really good about. I mean, everyone's getting ready. Again, I agree with you. The design on Black Manta is one of the coolest things ever. Everyone knows I'm an avid pop vinyl collector from Funko, and more so this week than ever, as Mike would know from our text messages. And the Black Manta pop is really cool with his like big wide head and those red eyes and like
oh cool.
His head looks like a spaceship, alien spaceship, but the rest of him's like underwater. It harkens back to kind of like that Space Ghost Hanna-Barbera days. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of vibe. And the pop is just that much cooler because it's so wide and really alien-esque. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's coming out October 5th of next year, 2018. So
hopefully.
I'm on board Aquaman. I know they've had to sit down for the table read. They've been scouting locations. I think if anything's going to hit its release date outside of this year, it's definitely going to be Aquaman. So all on board that. And some other things that have been switching around lately is the Black Lightning TV show. We've not talked about this in a while, actually. And it's a TV show based on the DC Comics character Black Lightning. Fox was supposed to pick up the show. It's one of those produced by Greg Berlanti of the Arrowverse, Supergirl fame. Fox passed on the pilot, Mike, and in that moment of weakness, CW has come through and picked it up and ordered it to series.
So it kind of makes me wonder is CW actually swooping in, or is the CW the dumping ground for shows that just don't work on bigger networks? I mean, we've seen Supergirl kind of get dumped on the CW when it couldn't manage the CBS's audience. So I mean, hopefully that's not the case for Black Lightning. But I was going to take this moment talking about Black Lightning to say that this week I have officially given up on Arrow, so I'm not going to be watching Arrow anymore.
Wow.
I'm surprised I lasted this long. I'm sure a lot of people dropped off after last season, and then I was watching the most recent episode just the other day, and I realized I had it going on in the background, because sometimes I'm very lukewarm on the show as it is already. So when I have it on, I'm usually doing something else. And after that episode ended, I realized I don't think I ever looked up from what I was doing once to see what was going on, because nothing on the screen was engaging enough to get me to glance my head up and see what was going on the screen. So I just I'm not going to be watching Arrow anymore. I've officially given up on it. So I have the idea of, I think they either need to get Stephen Amell out of there, either kill him off or have him walk off into the sunset and just bring in some fresh blood and just recast the Green Arrow as like just somebody else taking up the mantle, try to reinvent the show, or just take him off the air entirely and bring in Black Lightning, make some room. I think we're done with Arrow. We don't need him anymore in the CW universe with his own standalone show. I'm sure he can come swoop back in and make cameos, but Stephen Amell, go do something else, because your character arc has been totally done on that show, so maybe Black Lightning can fill that hole.
Yeah, I don't think they've run that show into the ground enough yet, Mike. So once they're beating dead horses over there, I think they'll
They've literally. I can't even keep track of how many people have come back from the dead. So they are literally beating dead horses on that show. So
well, that's what you get in a superhero world, Mike. But Black Lightning, I think if it does come to CW, they'll have to make some changes, but they don't know if it's going to exist in the Arrowverse or not, which is okay. I mean, it doesn't have to. I guess Supergirl still doesn't, but they have that loophole where they can jump back and forth between them. So it could technically be another world that could be part of it. I don't know. I think that we've always talked about, since they moved Legends of Tomorrow to Tuesday, what was going to fill that Thursday superhero slot. And the CW, I think, is a great place for these lower budget superhero shows. I think if that's your thing, if that's what you're into, you want to go to one channel and watch it. I don't want to have to be flipping channels to find all my shows, man. So I'm totally on board Black Lightning on the CW. That's my 2 cents on it, I guess.
Well, let's cross our fingers, man. I hope it's good.
We do, because I'm going to talk about a show I did not think was good, Mike. And that's the debut of NBC's Powerless this week.
Oh, okay.
And we both watched it 2 hours ago.
Yeah, just before we hopped on these mics.
Before we hopped on the show, I forgot it came out this week. I totally spaced it. I had no idea, and I downloaded it and I watched it today, and you watched it today. Did you forget it was out too?
Yeah, I think it was probably another thing where it popped up in some sort of advertised feed, either on Instagram or Twitter. I saw something that it had premiered, so I was just like, oh, we should probably watch this.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of those things. Powerless started off as an insurance company, an insurance claims company for a city that's attacked by superheroes. Well, they revamped it, and now it's a 30-minute show about the R&D department at Wayne Tech.
Yeah.
So
now, when you were watching this pilot episode, did you kind of get a little bit of feeling of some of the old show that was left in there a little bit?
I definitely saw there were scenes filmed that they just kind of glossed over and reused the footage.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that might kind of fit into the whole theme of what I thought about this pilot. You kind of summed it up in a different way when you sent me a text message that said, this show's kind of weird, where it just seems really discombobulated. Like, the ideas in this show are really, really clever. I really like the idea of that all of these people are working for Wayne Tech, trying to make things that help the average normal person kind of go through their life without getting smashed by like a supervillain dropping like a piano or something like that. So I like that idea, and I think it's kind of funny that Alan Tudyk's character just wants to get a promotion to Gotham, and his brother's Bruce Wayne. And I thought there were some funny jokes. Yeah, cousin, whatever. And I thought there were some funny jokes in there kind of related around the superhero universe. I will admit there are a few times in this pilot where I actually had a good laugh. But it just feels so clunky. Like, it feels like the type. It feels like a pilot where if it wasn't based on DC superheroes, I feel like it would have had a hard time getting like even like 6 episodes ordered. You know, like they're luckily that they can rely on this very famous IP to get themselves over the hump. But I almost feel like this might be like a little bit of like a Parks and Rec situation, and I only use Parks and Rec because it was also an NBC show. Like, maybe after 6 episodes of Powerless, they'll kind of find their footing and find their groove, you know, since they kind of were mashed up a little bit with that weird insurance type show. So I don't know if I'm gonna watch the next 6 episodes, but maybe in a couple months, maybe I'll turn an episode on and see if it's gotten any better, you know?
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat. Like, this, you see the remnants of this old show where she's talking to her dad, and like they cut out her dialogue and it's just voiceover. This villain, like this Starro, technically is his name, a starfish villain, spits on her window while she's cleaning up something. She's talking about growing up not in the city, and then there's all these things of her in the city already. And I'm like, okay, this is obviously a rewrite, and you're just reusing old footage to save time. But it felt very forced. Like, this show was like shoved down my throat. Like, she's gonna come in and be the perky one who saves the day. I mean, like, her optimism is, talk about taking, like, I felt like one of the victims in The Walking Dead. Like, Negan just beating a baseball bat over my head. Like, that's all she was doing the same thing over and over again. And while the other characters are like, okay, the other girl in the team doesn't like her. Like, she made like an annoying device. We get it. You don't like her at all. You don't have to say it every time you're on the screen.
Yeah, she was not funny at all. I mean, I was looking forward to the show mainly for Alan Tudyk and Danny Pudi, and I'm happy to say that they were my favorite parts of the show. Like, I am hoping that the show is successful just because I love those guys, and it would be awesome if I could turn on my TV and see them every week, because I'm really big fans of them. I was a little underwhelmed by Ronald Funches, which is a disappointment because he's always so funny when he's on like shows like At Midnight. He's an hilarious stand-up comedian, so I'm hoping maybe his character gets fleshed out a little bit better. But I can totally agree with you. Vanessa Hudgens' character was just too saccharine sweet. It was just, it was grating. So, like, I was kind of hoping she might have a little bit more dimension to her. I was hoping maybe at some point in time she'd get, like, pissed off and really mad and kind of show her teeth. But no, she just acted too much kind of like a child. So, yeah, it's clunky. It's not clean. I think maybe if they started at the very beginning of creating the show at the angle that it was going to be Wayne Tech or whatever, could have worked out better for them. But it's probably good that maybe they're leaning off of some of the superhero special effects because they weren't that good at the very opening of the show. I don't know what you thought.
I mean, we originally knew that she was mad at the Crimson Fox because she's like, oh, we got to get to work for this insurance thing. I could tell that was also recut to make it look fancy. I think that, to me, the thing is, I hate the theme song at the beginning because it's like a rip of The Office's theme song a little bit, but I love the animation of the introduction using the old comic books.
Yeah, that was one thing I had to tell you right away when I was watching it. I was like, oh, I can't forget it. Because it's the most clever opening title sequence I think I've ever seen. So just to describe it, it shows like kind of this montage parallax of these old vintage comic book covers. So the first one you see is that classic first cover of Superman where he's holding up the car, and then it's kind of focusing on Superman, and all of a sudden it zooms into the background and you see this tertiary character that's just in the background running away screaming, and then it says, oh, Vanessa Hudgens, and then the next it goes to the similar thing where it goes to the next one and you see a character in the background and kind of looks like Danny Pudi. So the opening credits actually do a really good job of telling you what the show is going to be about, of just the people that are affected by the superheroes. So so I will give props to whoever on the creative team came up with those opening title sequences. That was super clever and super awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the standout points of this for me. So I think the humor is gonna be there. I'm gonna give it 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes, to see if they finally found something to do before I stop. But I just think of this show and the other show premiering next week, Legion's gonna steal my time in an intentional way. This just felt too. This is obviously a large network comedy show. This is, I want to say it leans towards the Big Bang Theory more than it does comic book movies.
Yeah, so they're there for the broad appeal. They're not there for like a small audience.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I am on that. So any last words on that, Mike? I mean, I think we did, short of beating it like a dead horse, any other thoughts on it?
I mean, I think they can still turn it around, but it's B minus C plus for me.
B minus C plus. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely I would say probably a C. Yeah, I give it a C. You're right. Yeah, good call. Good call. Speaking of other shows that are coming out on the Marvel side now, Cloak and Dagger. We talked about this a little bit last week, and we were wrong. Our rumored sources were way off, and but because Marvel listens to our show, they obviously heard what we were doing and decided to correct us, and they've given us the actual actors with Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph.
Yeah, well, I mean, similar to what happened last week, whereas I don't know who these people are either, which is just kind of making me feel like an old man. None of these two really look familiar to me. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just very similar to what we were talking about last week. So just more young actors that are set for this role. So I'm not necessarily saying young actors are interchangeable, but young actors are pretty interchangeable, it looks like. So, I there's not much I can...
I think these two have less clout than the other ones did. I think more people might tune in and be like, oh, I recognize that guy from Heroes 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now I'm just like, who the hell are these people? Like, and this is going to be a trend that happens because you know that you're like, we're getting old. Like, we don't know what's going on, and we've included a picture of these actors. I think Aubrey Joseph is the most known. He did the show The Night Of. I think that's a...
Oh, yeah. I think that was on It was like a mini drama series on HBO. I think it had a lot of really good appeal. So, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, if he's on HBO.
Yeah, so he was in The Night Of, and I've heard really good things about that show. So, we'll see how, I guess, NBC's or ABC's Freeform does with it, I guess, NBC, I don't know. Freeform, whatever it is. Who owns it? Hulu is also doing some casting this week with Marvel for The Runaways. I think this is the bigger show. Hulu, I guess Hulu hasn't dove into the comic book movies or superhero shows.
Not quite yet.
This is the first one with Marvel's property, The Runaways, which has always been talked about for probably another decade. And they're finally doing it, and they officially unveiled the cast, and I know 0 of these actors as well.
Well, I mean, what I did instantly when I was reading this cast list is I looked what was in parentheses for where these people were from. So we have Teen Wolf, The Affair, New Girl, 100 Things to Do Before High School, Faking It. I think this was a frat movie called Goat. So I don't know who any of these people are. So it feels similar to the Cloak and Dagger news. I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon. Obviously, you got to cast younger people. So it's not like I'm expecting you to get younger people that I know. So I'm going to just trust Marvel and their casting department, and they know what they're doing. So I really don't know much about the Runaways, so I'm going to be going into this series kind of blind. So it's cool that it's getting made. I mean, Marvel's really stretching out their tendrils. I mean, they got Netflix, Hulu, ABC Freeform, ABC. They kind of got a in over there at FX with Legion. So Marvel's all over the place, man. They're dominating.
They really are, and I think that's awesome. So for you and everyone else, the Runaways is essentially a group of kids who are young and find out their parents have superpowers, and then of course they have some abilities as well. But their parents are villains, super villains, so they don't want to be villains. So they are trying to like team up to stop their parents or run away from their parents, and so they don't get into the super villain lifestyle. Of these, the character Nico Minoru, her mother was technically in Doctor Strange. Now I don't know if they'll reference that in the movie or the TV show at all. That she was that she's a magician. They could. I mean, why wouldn't they say, "Hey, Doctor Strange, we're still over here," and Hulu? But that would be the only one I think has any source outside of this. I definitely, this is definitely something that I want to pick up and read now. More so, I know a lot of people love it. A lot of people really love it, and I think I'll just have to pick it up and read it and finally catch up and see what all the hype is about on the books.
All the hubbub.
Yeah, I know. Of all the books I have, Runaways aren't one of them. Well, technically, I have a Runaways, but it's not related to this one, so whatever. My favorite part of the episode, where we get to talk about the Inhumans. The director, Roll Ryan, I don't know if we're saying it right. The director has been testing IMAX cameras, and he posted on Twitter, and then he took it down like almost immediately after. So I don't know what was going on with that. But at the same time, an actress from Arrow, Alicia Rotaru, she posted that she was really excited to work on this. I believe she was she a Russian person in the Arrowverse? I can't pronounce her name. Tayana Vindekatov?
I don't know. Honestly, I think she was in the last season of Arrow, which I think a lot of people do their best to block out of their mind. So, maybe if she can hop on the Inhumans track, maybe she'll be doing a little bit better.
Yeah, I think she's on like 12 episodes of it, and she's a little bit. She's not a younger actress, so a lot of people think that she's playing Medusa, the wife and queen of Black Bolt of the Inhumans. So, I mean, I think she's got the look to play the wife of Black Bolt. Medusa, I mean, her hair is not naturally red, but I mean, to have hair that moves on its own, like they're gonna have to do some effects anyway. And she looks a little older to be Crystal, the younger sister of Medusa. So, if she's part of it, I'm okay with that. I don't know what else. I'm waiting for the official casting announcements, which ought to be any moment if they're casting Cloak and Dagger and they're getting ready to film the Inhumans for that big, I guess, Labor Day, premiere in the theaters.
Yeah.
Are you going to that, Mike? I never asked you if you were going to go to the Inhumans at the theater. You
know what? There's a good chance I'm going.
Okay, all right, that's cool. I'm going to go as many times as my wife will let me. So I'm looking forward to maybe just buying an all-day ticket and sitting there several times. And conversing with people who walk in like, oh, you want to know about the Inhumans? Let me tell you everything. I'll be that guy.
You'll be doing a public service.
That's right. Marvel should pay me. I will hype the Inhumans up so hard. Have you been catching up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well?
Yeah, I am caught up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Good. I some people have fallen off the wagon, but I know they shouldn't be, because LMD season is awesome. And this past episode had the Koenig brothers, played by Patton Oswalt, show up. And there's another actress from Always Sunny who appeared in this episode, which I thought was awesome. I don't know if you're an Always Sunny fan or not.
Oh, I love Always Sunny.
So did you catch that? Are you caught up to enough to know who it was?
I don't know if I saw this week's episode then, because I know Patton Oswalt's supposed to be returning to the show. So
okay, if you didn't see Patton Oswalt's episode, then this is gonna fall. I'm not gonna tell you anything. However, we know this season is about life model decoys, and in the
100%.
Avengers, they Tony Stark says, "You've reached the life model decoy of Tony Stark," and a lot of people are like, "How can they do that? Like, this is the first time." Well, it's not true. Apparently, S.H.I.E.L.D. has had options in like their thing where they use life model decoys to an extent. So, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. clarified the Avengers comment and so on and so forth. So. For those people who are worried about continuity, I mean, this isn't Fox, okay? Marvel's gonna make it work. They cleared it up for us. I actually forgot he said that in the Avengers, like way over my head.
You're always on the lookout to keep us from having continuity aneurysms.
Well, if you guys go out there and spread misinformation, I'm just gonna be upset. Really, that's at the end of the day. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. So. The Defenders is coming up, and the working title of it is Group Therapy. We might have said that before, but a couple images show Sigourney Weaver on set giving us one of her faces. I don't know what kind of face it is, but she's giving it to us, and it shows Group Therapy. It looks to be episode 5. Director Yuda Bracelowitz, maybe? I don't know.
Well, that's the face that you look when you're sitting at dinner and you start to see your food come out from the kitchen, and you're like, here comes the pizza. That's the face Sigourney Weaver's making.
Oh, so you think someone's bringing her garlic bread? Is that what we're doing?
Someone's bringing her fixins. That's what she said.
God damn it. I set you up for that, didn't I? Oh, man.
Yeah, you did.
I did. Well, oh well. So Yuda Bracelowitz, she's a German cinematographer and film director. So she may be the cinematographer or not, but she did work on The Wire, the TV show The Wire. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's a good show. That's a good thing to hear. I mean, I don't think we're too worried about the Defenders turning out well on our end. So, but still good news.
Yeah, it definitely looks cold in the set. So definitely looks cold. Filming late at night there, almost 8 o'clock. In New York, so oh well. And nextly, I skipped one. Iron Fist. Did we talk about this Iron Fist news here? I think I skipped it.
No, I think you got too excited to look at that Fixin's face.
Oh my god, I did. So we're gonna go back a little bit and look at this Iron Fist, this banner for the show that Marvel released, showing Danny Rand with his tattoo and doing the glowing fist to himself. I can't tell what's around him, if that's like maybe sparks or fire, but I'm really excited for Iron Fist. That's kind of what it looks like, yeah. I'm really excited for Iron Fist. I don't know. I hope everyone else is as well. Netflix originals haven't let us down yet, and I think Iron Fist is going to continue that trend of quality shows.
Yeah, bring us into Defenders, man. I'm just like, even whether Iron Fist is good or not, we just need it out of the way so we can start to get Defenders footage.
You really just want Defenders. You just want to get to the end result, man. Yeah. Oh well, that's fine. Guardians of the Galaxy again. Hopefully, we get a trailer this weekend. We get to take a look at Mantis in some officially released screenshots from Marvel. There's a bunch of other ones, like a handful, but this high resolution, we get to see Drax returning in all his glory, and then Mantis. She looks to maybe be crying or upset at something. I don't know what, but her antenna seem to be CGI'd on. Do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, but Mantis is so interesting to look at because you have those big giant kind of like eyelashes with like the basically no whites in her eyes. So like she's got this whole look going on, so I can't even really focus on her little antenna there, but it's pretty cool. I think she's going to be a fun character.
Yeah, she got little feelers on the end of them. It's cool. I mean, I want to see her in action, and I'm really hoping that, this time, I guess 24, 25 hours from now, we'll be talking about Guardians via text messages, man, because I'm going to be so hyped. So hyped. Beauty and the Beast live-action movie is coming out the same day that Iron Fist does, March 17th, and the final live-action trailer has landed, and we finally got the Tale as Old as Time, whatever, Beauty and the Beast song from Ariana Grande and John Legend, which when I said those two names the first time, I was like, ugh. But the song actually works. It actually works. And this live action trailer gives us, I mean, it's essentially the cartoon movie scene for scene in live action.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you guys gonna go watch this?
I mean, I like. I'm not. It looks like basically. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it just because it's a live action Disney movie. I'm kind of I don't know how I feel about them quite yet, even though I hear Jungle Book is good. Good for you, Jon Favreau. Good for you, Jungle Book. But I can tell this movie is going to make a ton of money. So
because it says
good,
Disney.
Yeah, good on Disney and good on Emma Watson. I thought the coolest part of the trailer was actually getting to see the Beast talk, kind of to see the animation that they made this CG Beast actually kind of look pretty cool when he's just talking, having a casual conversation. So I like that brief moment. That was pretty cool. So I'm going to see it. I just don't know if I'm necessarily going to be rushing into a theater, but it looks pretty cool.
See, I think, something you brought up just now, so the Beast is the actor Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens is the main character in Legion coming out. So he's going to have a brand new TV show and a big movie going on at the same time. He's going to be so hot right now. And the problem with signing up for this Beauty and the Beast live action movie, or maybe it's not a problem, is there's no sequel. There's no franchise here, and because when it's over, it's over. We've seen the real movie unless they tweak it. Do you think that's something the actors are aware of when they sign up for it? Like, this is going to open doors, or this is kind of a one and done thing?
I mean, they made a sequel to The Huntsman, so maybe they'll try to make something pretty crappy after. I don't think so. I don't think they really care. I think when you're making a live action adaptation of like a classic Disney animated movie that people have grown up and love, especially these actors are right around the same age, where they've probably watched these growing up over and over again. They're probably just happy to be involved. I mean, I think a franchise work isn't necessarily something you need to do for an actor to make a living. They're going to get their millions of dollars any other way. So I'm not too worried about them buying a third or fourth car. So I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, he's the only one I think in this movie that I know is not in a franchise because, Luke Evans was in the Harry Potter, or not Harry Potter movies, Lord of the Rings, and Emma Watson was in the Harry Potter one. So I was just curious. I mean, I'm like, that's something you got to really take into consideration these days because everybody wants to franchise, Mike.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's our word. That's our F word on the show. Count the times we say it. Han Solo. They're filming it, Mike.
Yeah, they are.
And we've got our first shot from the movie in production, and it came with one simple title on Twitter. And what's that phrase, Mike?
It is Red Cup, and I will be the first to say, embarrassing myself here, is I did not get the joke or the double entendre or whatever it was called. I felt really stupid for a while. I was like, why are they calling it Red Cup? I don't get it. Like, is this just some sort of weird code name? I guess, sometimes they give these really big movies odd code names. Then it took me a while, and then when it dawned on me, I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. So if you don't get it out there already, like I didn't, Solo as in the Red Solo Cup. So Han Solo, yes, I felt pretty dumb.
Well, you actually jumped to the second point. The first point I was going to make is that it says Han shot first, which is funny because they're shooting the movie. And
Where does it say that?
When you click on the Twitter link.
Oh, actually in the tweet. Okay, I was looking in the photo.
Oh, no, that's cool. What's cool on this photo, on this slate here, since we are named the Superhero Slate, and this is a slate, I took a look at it. They're filming it in 6K resolution.
Ooh, nice.
Which, that's a high fucking resolution movie.
Yeah.
I think Guardians was 8K, and they're doing this one in 6K, so the resolution's getting higher. Can't wait to buy 6K TV to watch my Red Solo Cup movie on.
You need as many pixels as possible when you're going to try to find a way to probably graft a face onto other faces, because that's what you do in Star Wars movies now. You're going to take people's faces and you're going to put it on somebody else's face.
That's right. I mean, I want to see a whole movie with the messed up face doctor and his butt face friend from A New Hope and see where they go. Or maybe we could follow the Cy Snoodles band from Return of the Jedi and have Max Rebo play his little piano.
All right.
Not losing you? All right, that's fine. That's fine. I won Star Wars Trivial Pursuit a couple weekends ago at my friend's birthday party.
Oh, so now you're just showing off for the audience.
But I also have to give a shout out to my friend John, his brother Tim Killender. I found out listens to the show every week. Tim, thanks for listening. And he liked our Star Wars stuff last week, so I beat him at the Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, but not but he could whip my ass at arm wrestling. So we're tied. We're tied.
Well, Tim, if you like our Star Wars stuff now, just wait until we actually start getting footage of The Last Jedi, and then I'll be in full gear when we get into those Star Wars segments.
He goes into warp speed when we talk about Star Wars with that. All right. So while we're on Star Wars, more Star Wars, man. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now we know the official title of Episode 8. The first footage, again, probably in April. This was my speculation I had before we started talking about it. Because I read about Star Wars Celebration Orlando. And I know how big Star Wars is down there because Disney. So, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. And that maybe we get a teaser this weekend and a full trailer in April. Maybe
what I'm hoping for, baby. Bring it.
So let's cross our fingers, knock on wood, ignite our lightsabers, whatever we want to do. The Logan movie is premiering, I think, at the Berlin Film Festival this weekend, or very, very soon. And they officially unveiled the synopsis, which I'm not going to reveal to you because I felt it may be a little give too much away.
Well,
but
that's nice of you, man.
I know. The runtime, however, is 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is about 30 minutes longer than I thought we'd get on a Logan movie.
Yeah, well, cool. That's awesome. I mean, it's Hugh Jackman's last movie. Let's give him as many minutes as we can.
Mm-hmm. And then I went and looked a little more, and the Wolverine was 2 hours and 16 minutes. So I don't know what the hell I was thinking when I thought it'd be an hour 45. So all right, don't bottle away. Sorry, had a
out of frustration.
Yeah, I was like, I was wrong, Chris. I was wrong. But afterwards, Fox may be able to do something right with Deadpool 2. We're crossing our fingers. There's been, some news, been some ups, some downs. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago with a picture of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds with Pierce Brosnan. But a new rumor, fresh, not related to the picture, says that Pierce Brosnan is in reported early negotiations to play Cable after all.
I mean, I'll just briefly talk about what we talked about last time. I think we just kind of need a Cable to be a big jacked dude. So I'm hoping maybe Pierce Brosnan can get big and jacked. When I think of him as James Bond, he was kind of just like a slender dude in his kind of like tight-fitting tux, going around being a super spy. So I think Cable kind of needs to go to a totally different direction. So I think Pierce Brosnan is an awesome actor. So I think he could pull off the character of Cable, at least on an emotional acting level, but I just hope he can get those bicep pythons out so he can hold these big jacked guns.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I think Pierce Brosnan's he's very spy. He looks like a spy, not a time-traveling mutant who was drawn in the mid-90s during the Rob Liefeld era of Marvel. So,
yeah.
But I think he could bring some acting chops to it that, we could be surprised by. So, I don't know. I'm okay with it.
We're optimistic. We're optimistic. I think that's the best way to put it.
Love it. So last bit, some unrelated stuff here. Not superhero-y enough here, but we're going to talk about Dune, the movie we talked about before. Denis Villeneuve has been confirmed to direct the reboot. So there we go. Mm-hmm. I don't know. No one has said that they like the movie Dune yet. So if anyone out there likes Dune, let us know, and maybe we'll suffer through it.
I only know very little about the actual source material of Dune. I know so much more about everything else about Dune, about like all the craziness that has like happened with them trying to make that movie in the past, about even like the book series, I guess maybe went off the rails because the original author died, and I think like the son or somebody else picked up the series and it got weird. I don't know. Apparently there's lots of stuff to mine out of Dune, so it sounds like that there could be a cool sci-fi movie there. And if anyone's going to do it, Denis Villeneuve, however you say his name, he is awesome. Like, I love that guy. He's been doing some really awesome stuff. I hear some people are basically kind of waiting to see how well Blade Runner does, because that's kind of going to be like a sci-fi action thing, and Arrival was kind of more just sci-fi. So crossing my fingers, man. He's already big right now in my head, but he could just be getting even bigger,
He's a little engine that could. I think he's like the Neil Blomkamp who's not going to beat us over the head with like environmental messages. So I'm on board with that. We got a little our first look at Star Trek Discovery as well, the upcoming Star Trek show we talked about at the beginning of the show. They delayed it, they pushed it back, but they're finally filming it. They've got a cast and crew. I believe there was a big name in there. I can't remember who it was. who's hired to be on the cast list. I'm gonna pull it up here. But you just watched it for the first time earlier. What did you think of it?
I mean, basically, I feel like it's just a way to make people happy. Like, sorry, we don't have any footage yet. We delayed shooting of the show a little bit, so here's just some narration along with some sped up footage of the set being built. I mean, I'm not trying to be like cynical or anything, but I've never really been that deep into the Star Trek TV show verse. So I think it's cool that it's coming back, and I believe it's coming back kind of in a serialized fashion, like in the same way of like American Horror Story and like Fargo, right? It's just going to be kind of like one-off seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I honestly can't tell you. I know it's coming to CBS All Access, and
yeah, they're like digital
13 episodes. Yeah. So it's going to be a little different, but it's our first Star Trek TV show since 2005, I think. So it's been a long time coming with the new TV or the new movie reboots, and it's got Doug Jones in it. Doug Jones is known. He was the Silver Surfer. He was in Hellboy as the Abe Sapien. He's always in like prosthetic makeups and all sorts of movies and stuff like that. He's very known for like becoming the character. So he's in Pan's Labyrinth. Worked with Guillermo del Toro quite a bit.
He looks a little alien, so maybe he won't be playing a full-fledged human.
Yeah, so he definitely fits right into it. He was also in the movie Tank Girl that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Remember that? And also Michelle Yeoh. She's from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the main actress in there who jumped around from tree to tree.
All nimbly bimbly.
All nimbly bimbly. So it's got some big names coming into it. Really excited to maybe watch my first Star Trek show, Mike. It'd be my first one. So, and lastly, Samurai Jack. I think you're kind of excited for this.
Ooh, you know it.
There's been a new teaser video saying Jack's back with a March 2017 return. So sooner than later, we're going to be back to watching Samurai Jack.
Oh, I am so excited. I've been slowly kind of working my way through the episodes that they have up on Hulu, rewatching the what has already aired in the past. So I'm very, very, very excited for that. It's an understatement. So I will be all over this on March, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more on the show just because I'm so in love with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the best thing, one of the cool things is about this, much like Star Trek, is it's been 13 years since the show ended, and they're bringing it back for a 5th season with the same kind of creative talents behind it, and looking forward to this 5th season here. So
and it's coming back with blood. It's coming back with the original creator. I can never say his name right, but I believe it's Gengi Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's been working in animation for a long time. He's the real deal. So
he was. He also did. He did the animated Star Wars Clone Wars series.
Yes, very true. There is no reason not to be insanely hyped for this. So I am putting so much hype behind this. So I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I had to have it in here for you, man. I know Samurai Jack coming back is for Mike. So there we go. Whatcha? So that's it for our first episode of the weekend. We got an hour out of it, surprisingly enough. So, Mike, if people want to find you while you watch the Super Bowl, maybe, I don't know if you're going to be live tweeting. I might live tweet my sarcasm and angst for watching sports ball. Where can people find you at, Mike, if they want to see?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, your Funko Pop collection is growing so large, I'm afraid one day it's going to fall on you and kill you. So if people want to see the last moments of that pop vinyl before it crashes into your skull and kills you, and you live stream it.
I'm going to Periscope that shit.
Where can they find that?
You can find me on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN, and also I'll be posting all the Super Bowl trailers on comicui.com for you to catch up on afterwards. And again, look forward to some more Film Side Chat podcasts to release once those are recorded and ready to go. But yeah, I'm probably going to live tweet tomorrow during the game because there's just me and my in-laws coming over. So sports ball's not my thing. I was lucky to get the teams right this year, so that was one thing I was proud of. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to our show afterwards, talking about like fresh, hot off the press, if you will. And if people are listening to us now, maybe it's always someone's first superhero slate. That's what I like to tell ourselves. And if this is their first superhero slate, where can they find more of us at, Mike?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host the show. If you're not subscribed yet, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. You can subscribe and get us right in your email inbox every week, and you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to pick up any Superhero Slate official merch like shirts, mugs, other assortment things, you can find that on superheroslate.com/store. And if you're a fan of the show, please consider leaving us a review wherever you listen or watch the show. Drop us a comment, a like, a subscribe, whatever you got to do. I don't know. There's so many avenues you can do interact with the show out there.
Just Google us.
I don't know what all the actions are, but the best thing is if you're a super fan of the show, if you really like what we're doing here, just share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, sometimes multiple times a week. So stay tuned for tomorrow, where we're going to hop on these mics as soon as the big game's over, and we're going to talk about all the commercials and all the trailers, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys then.
Yeah. Don't forget to tag us on any social media that you have during the Super Bowl if you see a trailer you want us to talk about or a commercial. So tag us, and we'll make sure to add it to our list probably. So
yeah.
I guess in the meantime, Mike, it's about dinner time here, so I'm going to go get me some fixins.
Oh, yeah, you go get yourself some fixins.
Oh, I'm going to get some fixins, so I will catch you tomorrow, buddy.
All right, goodbye, man.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
You can't eat cranberries outside of November, December. You're out of season.